And welcome to Radio DMG. I'm your host, Philip Wesley. I'm sitting here at A-Kon 22 with...
Kyle A-Bear.
It's pronounced A-Bear?
It is pronounced A-Bear. It looks like Herbert, and some people think it's Herbert, but you take the first R out, and a little Louisiana French for you. The H is silent, E's like an A, so A-Bear.
A-Bear. I always thought it was like Herbert, kind of like a Steve Colbert or something like that.
Well, yeah, the Colbert thing is kind of a boon to my last name, at least the last syllable, at least.
Yeah, the last syllable.
So when people see that, they can at least, oh, okay. It's like, oh, just think of it this way. A bear is attacking.
So, yeah, Kyle, a bear is attacking.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
What brings you to A-Kon 22?
Well, the kind folks of A-Kon, actually. They asked me back again. I've been here pretty much every year for the past decade plus, and it's an honor to get to come. This was the first convention, the anime convention that I went to as a fan in '99, and started becoming a guest in 2000, 2001, and been coming pretty much every year. And it's great because, you know, I grew up in Dallas, and it's my hometown. And so these guys are like family, the staff, the organizers, and made a lot of friends through the years. And, of course, the attendees see a lot of familiar faces, along with new ones every year. So it's always a blast.
So it says you grew up in Louisiana, but one of your first gigs was out on a radio station there, Squeegee or something like that? I'm looking on IMDb here.
Okay, yeah. Squeege was my on-air name on Radio Disney, which is here, what was here in Dallas. Now it's in Los Angeles, where I live, ironically. Which that's a radio job I had for 9 years, and I was there. I was doing DJ work for different stations before that, and then that particular job for Disney opened up the opportunity to get into voice acting with Funimation, because they were looking at the time. DBZ was #1 with Toonami and Cartoon Network, and Radio Disney was looking to do some prize giveaways. So they took a tour of Funimation, and we ended up actually giving away some of the action figures and toys and stuff. But when they did that, they kind of found out that there were open auditions. They were, casting the next story arc, and they knew how badly this was something I wanted. So, I hadn't been able to find a number or anything. I saw like a Dallas Observer article covering Funimation. They interviewed Chris Sabat, said, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea it was here in Dallas. Man, I got to get a number. I got to get in." And couldn't find anything. And then luckily, the place where I worked said, "Hey, we got a phone number for open auditions." Like, yes, thank you. So I went in, tried out, got lucky, and started off with bit parts on the End of the Cell saga and Bardock Special. And then eventually I got the very first character that I originally tried out for, which was Teen Gohan. Got the narrator shortly after that. And then as we went on and finished the series, we went back in and I took Ox King from Chris Sabat and did that in Dragon Ball. And Funimation started getting other shows. The DBZ cash cow, as it were, was able to channel some other licenses. So we got Blue Gender, Yu Yu Hakusho, and those are my first villain voices, I guess. And in 2005, I decided to leave radio and pursue voice acting full-time in Los Angeles. And been there ever since. I've got to be on Naruto and Bleach, and that's all kind of facilitated by Steve Bloom, who's best known as Spike from Cowboy Bebop, and he was Tom the Toonami Robot, actually, for many years. And nowadays he's Wolverine, a lot of the X-Men stuff. He's Starscream on Transformers Prime, and constantly working, a great friend and mentor and inspiration to me.
I had a question. Since you worked here in Dallas for a little while, you've worked in Texas with Funimation.
Yeah.
And you've worked in LA. Since Texas is a right-to-work state, did you have to join the union when you went out to LA?
I've done a little, depending on some of the projects. If you want to read for, Disney and Nickelodeon and all that, that's union stuff. And the stuff out here, you don't tend to find a lot of union gigs because it is a right-to-work state. And I think that's the reason Funimation kind of set up shop here.
Yeah.
And a lot of the talent that have started at Funimation and now live in LA, we're all crossing our fingers that, just to save time from having to fly back and forth, Troy Baker, Travis Willingham, Laura Bailey, Vic Mignogna, we're all like Texas exports, as it were. But we still fly back from time to time to work on Funimation shows. We keep on hoping that they'd open an LA wing or something.
Have you looked into? I noticed that you've also done voice acting for video games as well. Have you done any audiobooks?
I have done audiobooks. I did some audio stuff for a tiny company called Timberwolf Press outside of Plano years ago, while I was still living in Texas. I haven't done them since I moved to LA though. It's kind of a hard thing to get into when you think about the amount of work that goes into it. It ends up being a nice payday, but you work for it because not only do you need to do your prep and read the book ahead of time, but you need to come up with all these different voices. It's like if I'm narrating an audiobook that has 30 different women in it, how am I going to make them all sound unique? Besides, oh my gosh, I'm a high-pitched voice. That just becomes the point of parody or whatnot. So that becomes a juggling effort, as it were, to do. But I know a lot of friends that do audiobooks and they enjoy it and everything. The kind of projects that give me the most pleasure creatively speaking are all the character-oriented stuff. So getting to work in anime, and mostly what I do now are games, which is a higher paycheck, ironically, given that anime dubbing is the hardest type of voice work to do because you're acting and matching lip sync. But it's also on the lowest end of the totem pole pay-wise, and just historically always has. It's never going to pay the same as working on a cartoon or something. That's why you'll never hear Billy West on anime. And how can you blame him? If you're used to making scale, which is close to $800 a session. Now someone like him on Futurama, he's making like what, $75,000 an episode or something. But your average voice actor, even the established ones, a cartoon making close to 800, or a game can make up to 800, or sometimes if you're lucky, double scale, or and that's per session. So if you're the main character on a session, you do a 4-hour session, and you have another 4 hours left. Oh, okay, suddenly I got $1,600. Like, oh, we got pickups. Oh, okay, another ching. So it adds up. Now the downside is, unlike cartoons and on-camera movies and such, there's no residuals. There's no residuals in anime or video games. Oh well.
So you've done Ryu on, how do you pronounce it? Is it Ryu or Ryu? I used to
Capcom said it's Ryu.
Ryu.
Now the 1994 and the movie called him Ryu, and a lot of fans have called him Ryu through the years, but I got to go with how Capcom told me to say it, so we say Ryu.
Speaking of which, of Capcom anyways, are you going to be in Street Fighter X Tekken?
I really hope so, because what Capcom did when Street Fighter 4 came out a few years ago was they said, we want to establish this franchise from here forward. When we do the English version, we want a consistent cast. So let's do the math here. If Ryu is in Street Fighter X Tekken, then hopefully they'll give me a call. Because, I would love to be in that. And Tekken is a really fun fighting franchise in its own right. And getting to see those two mashed up together, that'd be great. I'd like to personally see Soul Calibur and
versus Street Fighter. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be because especially since Soul Calibur 5 has been announced.
Right. So, and Soul Calibur is actually my favorite of the fighting franchises. And I'll be honest, the reason is because you can button mash. I love button mashing.
Kind of like Dead or Alive, you can button mash just a little.
It takes a little more strategy for that. And in Street Fighter 2, but Marvel vs. Capcom, I've noticed it goes back to the button mashing thing. And you have, a 50-50 shot of,
of winning or not.
Yeah.
Winning!
Yeah, I'll take that risk, because I just can't remember the combos. Down right, down right, down X.
So, since you've worked on a lot of video games and anime in particular, what was your favorite one to work on, and what was your favorite anime to work on?
Wow, man, honestly, through the years, it's just, I've noticed that even if it's a bit part, an unnamed character, or an episodic character, or a main role, or whatever it is, I'm just happy to be working. Because, it's great to get paid to do what I do, but it's very sporadic, so it's not like I'm rich or anything. I'm so not. I'm in debt as much
Chris
as the next
Patton
guy.
And Steve Bloom. Those are rich people. No, I'm kidding.
No, not really. I think Steve Bloom's doing well because he's been doing this for 20 years. He's very, very established. But I've been doing it for, this is my 11th year. And, I have some good months, and then I have bad months, But in terms of roles, DBZ will always be special. I usually get asked to do the narrator voice a lot, and that's always been a ton of fun. But of recent years, Kamina has been a really epic, manly character that has really made a connection with a lot of fans.
So, like, really quickly, could I get you to do the Kamina voice? Just say, like, don't believe in yourself, believe in the me that believes in you.
Don't believe in yourself, believe in me. Believe in the Kamina that believes in you.
Ah, excellent.
Yours is the drill that will pierce the heavens.
Excellent. Oh, what made you want to get into radio and voice acting?
Theater of the mind. The power of the mind can just fill in and make it more epic than any movie camera could possibly do, Just like people will always argue that the Harry Potter books are so much better than the movies, yet they keep going to see the movies. And I'm a visual person. I don't really read books. I go to see the movies. But the thing with me growing up wanting to do voice work is I was always too shy to get on stage, and I always had difficulty memorizing lines. The great thing about voice work is you're not biased by how you look. You don't have to sit on a set for hours on end and do makeup and wardrobe and all that. You go in for a few hours, record in your PJs if you wanted to. And yeah, I'm 42 now, but the characters I voice tend to be, teenagers, and then some guys are even older than I am. But I have a wide range of voices, so I can give them whatever they want, and I can not have to worry about 1,000 eyes staring at me. Now, the thing that voice acting and radio, for that matter, did was build confidence and kind of get me out of my shy shell. So now I have no problem at an anime convention addressing 1,000 people staring at me and telling people that I'm doing something that I loved and everything. It's actually been very therapeutic and helpful for me to come out of my shell and be a confidence booster. And again, getting to do something that I've wanted to do since childhood, and I'm getting to do as an adult and having a blast. And I always try to be inspirational to people who want to do this sort of thing or anything they want in life. Go for it. Because, regret and wondering what if is a lot worse. Even if you don't succeed at the end goal, at least you tried. And that's worth its weight in gold right there.
So, considering you said you've wanted to do this since you were very young, what radio programs or radio plays did you grow up with?
Let's see. Well, the biggest influence on me in terms of becoming a voice actor was Looney Tunes. So Mel Blanc, doing all those great characterizations himself. I used to listen to, The Shadow, all these old classic sci-fi horror genre type stuff. Listening to Dr. Demento, do his weekly radio show, and I would sit around and just take an old cassette recorder and make up my own character voices and do radio shows, play DJ and stuff. Back then I had a turntable, play Kiss records, Aerosmith, Queen, and pretend I was my own radio station and everything.
I'm sure your parents loved that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes, absolutely.
They're like,
And then they gave me a drum set. Ooh, big mistake. When I was in middle school, I fell in love with drumming. So I was a high school band nerd. I was on the drum line, and we kind of kept to ourselves, but yeah.
Do you play any other instruments besides drums?
Nope. No, it's been years. I mean, my drums sit in storage here in Dallas.
Oh.
But, I kind of live in an apartment.
You could always auction them off for Japan or something.
I could. That'd be a really good cause. I haven't parted ways with them because of sentimental reasons, but, maybe one of these days I can afford an electronic drum set.
Ooh.
And just put on the headphones and not bug the neighbors, Because a lot of people say, what would you be doing if you weren't voice acting? And my first answer, which is half joking, I said, well, I'd be trying to become a voice actor. And then other than that, well, I love music. I love playing drums. So I'd probably be playing in a band or something.
Trying to sing?
I don't know about singing. Definitely doing different voices and stuff. I can write. I write promos and do voiceover for Kevin Smith's Smodcast network, the Sir Radio, Smodcast Internet Radio. So
that is you. I was like, he sounds really familiar for some reason. We were just talking.
Smodcast Internet Radio. Yeah, that's me.
Yep.
yeah, that's surreal. I got to meet Kevin Smith. I've been a fan since the first Clerks, and then getting to hang out at his house for a while, talk to him, and see this gorgeous Hollywood mansion. It's like, wow, this is sweet. So now I'm kind of his employee.
Oh, that's great.
I get to write and and not worry about the FCC because it's internet radio. It's we can be as adult as we want.
Yeah, it's like I've been listening to that when I listen to Plus One, Smodcast, and Jay and Silent Bob Get Old.
Those good deal, man.
Well, yeah,
what's
your favorite show on those? Yeah.
Oh God, I honestly, it's hard to say. I really do love the vibe that him and his wife have, and how they're just themselves, and you just get a slice of their everyday life, and they've literally just built a radio station in their living room. And that's cool, I was a podcaster for 5 years. When I first moved to LA, I started the Big Ball broadcast, and I ceased that last summer, so about a year ago, because my co-host became a dad for the second time, and my engineer wanted to do his own network thing. I said, all right, I'm going to take a hiatus. I may revisit podcasting eventually.
Why'd you call it the Big Ball Podcast?
Well, Big Ball Broadcast.
Big Ball Broadcast.
We called it that. A friend of mine was a podcaster, and he said, why don't you call it Big Ball Broadcast? I was like, oh, it's a great name. Because I'm big, and I'm bald.
Oh, and, big bald.
That's right.
I heard ball. I was
No. Bald.
So,
I just wanted to do a podcast about things that I'm interested in. I started out thinking, okay, well, I'll make it about voice actors. I was like, I don't know.
You get maybe 3 or 4 shows out of that.
Yeah, I'd run out of how'd you become a voice actor? And you just ask the same questions over and over again. So I thought, well, what are people who follow voice actors, what are they into? Well, they're into cartoons, anime, video games, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, comics, collectibles, pop culture. We'll just do a mashup of subjects.
Mashup of subjects. That's always the best way to go with it, because if you get way too pointed on these, you find out you run out of shows really quickly.
Yeah. But the power of podcasting was exciting and rejuvenated my interest in radio. Because I'll be honest, in 2005, one of the factors that said, all right, I got to get up and move to LA and try this voice acting thing, was that radio was getting a little stale for me. Because again, I got to report to the big man, corporate America, and I got to do things a certain way, and this, that, and the other, and. For anyone who wanted to do a radio show about anime, for example, would have to submit to the FCC to get a license to be a broadcaster and then beg a local radio station to maybe get an hour on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m.
Yeah, I've worked with radio before, and honest to goodness, it's really difficult to get anything out there that's not either top 10 DJing or conservative talk radio. And even that's on AM.
And radio is a dying thing. I mean, it's in a state of flux, rather. I mean, I guess it's a more accurate thing. It's always been a hard deal because there's no such thing as a mom-and-pop radio station in the middle of nowhere. It's always these big conglomerates, these big corporate things that buy up all the little stations.
NPR,
Clear Channel.
Oh, yeah.
All these huge things that they fire out the whole staff and maybe have a handful of guys that just voice track all the DJ stuff for mere pittance. And how do you live on that wage?
Yeah. And I could imagine you'd get terribly bored with that.
You would get bored. I did some voice tracking for Armed Forces Radio, actually.
Oh, AFIS? Sorry, yeah. My dad's military, so we've been stationed in Germany, so I may have heard you on AFN or something, right?
You might have. I was on Z-Rock, on the Heavy Metal Hard Rock Armed Forces Network channel. Yeah,
I mostly listened to Paul Harvey on that.
Okay. Paul Harvey, good day.
It's and that's the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, good stuff. I mean, talk radio has definitely made its niche. It's not going anywhere. Whether it's politics or, shock talk, Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony, that stuff. And of course, Kevin Smith kind of leading the way with showing, the streaming internet radio. Take your built-in fan base and switch mediums. He's slowly gearing away from making movies. He's directed Red State, which is kind of a horror
Have you
drama.
seen it yet?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it any good? I haven't seen it yet.
Good. It's very good.
Pretty good?
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's not comedy. It's not stoner comedy. It's not anything. It's completely different thing. It's what if I did a Tarantino, Coen Brothers type serious movie using the Westboro Baptist Church people as kind of a starting off point.
Definitely.
So it's dark and bloody and violent and suspenseful and very good. I'm interested to see how it does, considering he's distributing it himself.
Oh yeah, I saw the thing they did at I think it was Cannes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. And I just lost my question. I had it right there and just whoop, went out the way. Oh, that happens. But that's fine. I've worked with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can add that, I guess I am still podcasting. I stream, with websites like Ustream and Stickam. Anybody can do a live show, which is cool. I like the fact that I could turn on the app on my iPhone here at A-Kon and stream. Assuming I have a strong enough signal. I could sit here and interview cosplayers. I could walk around and talk to people, and I could have an audience because I've built that up through the years. So, I mean, that's exciting.
So, a couple of these are con-related questions. Like, what was your best experience at a convention?
Best experience? Wow, gosh. I think getting invited to Sydney, Australia, and Wellington, New Zealand, which were back-to-back weekends. So, I had to stay down there for about 2 weeks.
Somewhere in the bushes.
Oh, poor me. Yeah. Oh, no. It was the populated area, but
so somewhere in the bushes.
Yeah, somewhere in the bushes. That's right. Good day. No, I was seeing the Sydney Opera House. Just a gorgeous city. And then Wellington, New Zealand. I got to see Weta Workshop. At the time, Two Towers hadn't come out yet. So we got to see all the Lord of the Rings stuff. And it's just amazing getting to do that. And this last time, I actually went to Sydney again this year and met Lance Henriksen and Karen Allen and, folks from the Indiana Jones films, Aliens. These are films that made a huge impact on me as a teenager and a kid, seeing Indiana Jones and Aliens. And here I am hobnobbing with these guys that are mutual guests of the con. And like, whoa, this is unreal. This is wild. I'm sitting on a bus talking about, voice acting or talking about Lance Henriksen, who's, just amazing.
Acting.
Just about acting, about his projects and whatnot. He should be doing more voice work. Someone with those soothy, dulcet tones. He's such a great... And he's just done, like Tron, the animated series that's coming out, a mini-series. I'm a huge Tron nerd. And, they got all celebrities for it, which is kind of a soapbox I go off on. It's like, come on, let's stop getting the celebrities. Get the people who do this for a living. Because I honestly don't think people that go to see Hollywood films have the same mentality. It's like, oh, I go to see this movie because it has a major star.
No.
Like, why do you buy a game? I mean, did you buy Modern Warfare because it had Gary Oldman in it or Sam Worthington?
No, it's for the multiplayer.
Exactly. You buy the game for the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, those characters have to be voiced, but why would you spend, millions of dollars to get a celebrity on there? They don't even put their names on the box art.
Yeah, it's not. You're not looking at like Modern Warfare 3 starring Jeff Bridges.
And they may very well get someone of that caliber for it. But I say, why don't you use your budget a little more wisely in this recession and pay scale to people who do this for a living and aren't just going to phone in a performance.
Yeah, because a lot of these people, it's like, well, okay, as long as I sound like Alan Rickman, it's okay. That type of deal.
Yeah. And that may work for a Hollywood film. I mean, it's kind of sad that X-Men First Class didn't do quite as well as everyone had hoped. And some people are saying, oh, it's because there's no major stars in it.
No, I kind of want to... I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you should. I think it's brilliant.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet because we've been driving. We were driving when it was out. The whole 9-hour, 10-hour drive type deals.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see it soon.
Highly recommend it. And I hope it finds its footing. Maybe people stayed away because they felt burned from the Wolverine Origins and X3.
And, yeah.
It's like, do we really want to see this again? We don't care at this point. But no, it's really good.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to check that one out. So, what was your worst experience at a convention? And don't worry, I can tag this with a not safe for work tag. We have an SFW, by the way. We can be an SFW.
God, I can't think of... I know some of my voice acting colleagues have had far worse experiences than me. I know
no creepy fans?
Well, creepy fans, sure. Maybe ones that just kind of get up in your personal space or they need to bathe and you can smell what they had for lunch 3 days previous and they haven't, they're wearing their cosplay and they sweated in it all day. And but again, horror stories that I luckily have not gone through. One actor was roofied. Someone made him cookies.
Ooh.
And now he will not accept food from fans because of that. I mean, he was tripping. He said someone put something in this cookie.
Like the Hangover type thing.
Yeah. I feel sorry for, we got a lot of very attractive female voice actors, and of course, some of the fans get a little attached.
They're like, I want to lick you. And you're
like,
no.
You get fans that will literally camp outside their hotel room. Speaking of licking, Scott McNeil, very established Canadian voice actor, a fan licked his face, and yeah, he was pretty grossed out by that.
Yeah, because all things considering, a Canadian national treasure.
Yeah, he is. He's the Mel Blanc. He's one of the big inspirations to me. Still.
Kind of their apology for Bryan Adams and Justin Bieber, right?
That's true. I love Canada, though. I get to go there a couple times a year, and I think they're great. I love Tim Hortons. I love their health care. I wish we had their health care.
Well, who knows?
How's that for ADD podcast? Well, Kyle, can you just answer the question?
Yeah, no. It's like, yeah, let's shoot this.
I know, all over the place. Whoa.
No, that's fine if we're all over the place. It makes for interesting experiences for our guests, because we've done a lot of we've interviewed a lot of their voice actors and such, like Liesl Wilkerson and stuff. She does Nina in Tekken. So
sweet.
You know what I'm saying. So who knows?
Good deal.
So when you're when you're working on the audio for a video game, how does that go? How does that happen? The recording process for that.
Well, I actually do a panel workshop at cons. I'm actually doing it here this weekend about video game voice acting, because unlike anime, where you're doing lip sync, in video games you tend to match the length of the Japanese audio, since you don't have a visual reference. Sometimes there may be some rough animatics done, and you might have to do some lip sync for that, but generally all you see is like an Excel spreadsheet script. You may not even see a picture of the character you're voicing. You may just hear, it's like, okay, you're playing a 30-year-old soldier. It's like, okay, now you're going to play a 500-year-old demon. All right, now you're going to be a,
12-year-old kid, that type of thing. Like, oh,
something like that. Now you're a wisecracking deity, this, that, and the other, all in the same session. But yeah, if most games are from Japan, so we'll listen to the Japanese audio to hear how loud or soft it needs to be, and sometimes we have to pay very close attention, as if it's, get out of the way, da 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 da, and they say it in Japanese and it takes 5 seconds, then we got to make sure we say the English equivalent in 5 seconds, preferably 4.9 or 4.95 or whatever.
Well, because so that they can fit more of it on there, because the audio is a little bit different.
Well, they animate the lip flaps to the Japanese audio, so obviously we're stuck with that. But when we record, sometimes we'll do like 2 or 3 takes in a row. We'll hear the Japanese, so the actor hears how long it needs to be, how quiet or soft it needs to be, and then we go and do our take. It's like, get out of the way! Get out of the way! We'll do, a slower one, faster one, a variance. And then the director will confer with the writer, the producer there from the gaming company, and it's like, okay, good, next. And it's kind of assembly line, just down in numerical order. And, again, the pay is a lot better for a game, and technically it's easier.
So, with back to the subject of anime, was there anything that you didn't get to voice act that you really wanted to voice act for, like a particular show?
Everything I've ever auditioned for. No. It's, every actor will tell you that. It's like, because I audition more than I work, and I think that's true for just about any actor. There's always exceptions, but in generally, we're constantly trying to get jobs, because auditions don't pay. So if they don't call you, you ain't working. I haven't worked in 3 weeks. So I flew here to A-Kon, and now my phone's lighting up with, we need you now! I'm like, you can't get me until I get back. And I'm like, irony. Murphy's Law. But, so sometimes it rains, it pours.
Sometimes. Since you do a lot of work with Funimation, are you auditioning for, or have you been approached to work with, say, they licensed Fairy Tail recently. Would you like, have they...
I think it's actually been recorded already.
Already?
I want to... I don't know.
You don't know yet?
It sounds familiar. That name sounds familiar.
There's Fairy Tail, and then there's Panty and Stocking with Garter Belts. That's another big one.
I've heard of that one. I don't think that one's...
auditioning yet?
Yeah.
Not yet.
I mean...
You try out for it?
If I got to audition for it, here's the thing. I would have to fly out on my own dime from L.A.
Oh.
Now, some actors do get to do that and come out. I mean, I tried out for Hitalia. I felt pretty confident in it, but at the time, it's like... it'd be a blessing and a curse. It'd say, congratulations, you're on Hitalia. That's awesome. And then I'd be like immediate panic mode. I don't have $400 for a flight, and I have to front that. I mean, yeah, I would make it back by recording on the show and everything, but the way it's set up, no, we wouldn't. They wouldn't cover the flight or anything like that.
That's kind of a shame.
Yeah, but it is what it is. That's why it kind of re-emphasizes that you need to live where the work is, and they're throwing us a bone because we're already established. They're not just going to let anyone from anywhere try out, because chances are they're not going to have the money for a flight at the drop of a hat either. How many people do? And, so, I mean, the way it's set up, we go and record, and we sign our little timesheets, and 3 or 4 weeks later, then the paycheck shows up. So, being freelance, you kind of got to space your living out and kind of budget and make it last, as it were.
So what do you do outside of voice acting or radio or the video games to make up for that? Bag groceries?
I should, but, here's the thing. I go to so many cons that I'm not available on weekends, so I don't have the elusive part-time job right now. I'm living on voice acting, which sounds great, but it's also a huge financial struggle, because if you ain't working for 3 weeks, that's 3 weeks you're not going to see income for. So it's a little bit rough. So being freelance, we're throwing a lot of stuff in different irons and different fires. Because maybe if I'm auditioning and not getting work over here, maybe this studio will hire me for something. So, I mean, up until an hour ago, I had nothing scheduled for next week. Now I have 2 things, which is great.
Are you under NDA on those?
Usually, yeah.
Usually?
Yeah, I can say one's a game and one's a recurring show with ninjas that I'm on.
Oh.
You can probably deduce what that is.
Fruits Basket, right?
Yes.
Right? Oh.
Fruits Basket Ninjas, yes.
Yes.
That would be awesome. That would be pretty epic. But alas. No, I mean, I hate the non-disclosure agreement thing. I would love to, because I'm a social media whore. I tweet on Facebook.
Tweet it.
I do. And the compromise is I can say, I just auditioned for an awesome project. I can't say what. But and then people will constantly ask, what is it? It's like, I can't tell you.
You can't. No, it's just like that.
Because, unfortunately, some actors have gotten in trouble for doing that, and then, they're not going to sue you or anything, but they'll just not work with you again. And that's, a crushing blow to someone who's freelance, You want to keep working. You want to keep a good working relationship, and you want to be trustworthy. Not only have a strong work ethic, but respect the bounds that they said. All right, we're trusting you with this information. Don't, email the script to your friends. Don't post it anywhere. Don't talk about it. It's like Fight Club. Don't talk about Fight Club.
No, we don't talk about Fight Club. Now, I'm going to ask an interesting little. It's something we've asked several people that we've interviewed, like various voice actors or people who go to the other conventions. Now, I've noticed something about a lot of people who go to these conventions. They're very outgoing and outspoken when they're here at the convention, but when they get out of the convention, they're very, very withdrawn and shy and such. Do you have any tips on how they can transfer that energy and outgoingness from the convention to their everyday life?
I think a tip that I've never tried it myself, but it really does make sense, because I get a lot of people saying, I want to be a voice actor, but I am nervous, I'm jittery, even hearing my own voice. I said, well, talk to yourself in front of a mirror, because eventually it's just going to get to where you are comfortable. And also record yourself. At first it's going to be weird, because the way you hear yourself on the recording is different than you hear yourself in your head. That's just the way your vocal cords are. But the way you sound on a recording is how the rest of the world hears you. So, record yourself saying anything. Read from your favorite comic book or manga. Read from the, quote a commercial. Read the back of a book or a magazine. Just read it aloud, no matter how stupid it sounds. And then read it again. And then play it back. Get used to your own voice. Play it for your friends. Play it for your family. Get it out there and get involved in different voice acting type projects. And there's a lot of amateur projects out there that need people, and I think it's good practice.
So it can translate to making people a little bit more outspoken outside of conventions.
I would think so,
Yeah.
and I think there are speech classes that you can take, public speaking and radio announcing, and these are all different beasts. Obviously, the affectation of your voice and the delivery of a speech is different than acting. It's or reading the news is a different play from doing a commercial. Doing an audiobook is different from an anime, and so forth. So there's all these different beasts. I think it's fascinating, all the different ways that you can approach voice work, and sell an emotion through different means, or solely with your voice, and not with physicality.
So, in order to become less introverted and stuff, you think people should talk to themselves?
Yeah, I talk to myself all the time.
As long as they don't answer themselves, or is it like as long as they don't answer themselves and say, "Huh"?
I think actors are a neurotic bunch. We're all insane because we all want the spotlight and people to clap and laugh and all that stuff, and that's that weird vacuum that we're in voice acting. You go into a booth, and the only person telling you, "Yay, that's awesome," is your director, which is good because that means, sweet,
It's
I'll get
better,
to come back.
"Yay, that's awesome," then.
And it's like, this isn't working, sorry. But then we get to come to the conventions and then hear the real feedback. Now, we could go online, thank God for the internet, so we can get instant feedback on Twitter and whatnot, and people saying, "Oh, I just bought this."
"Oh, you ruined Kaminata."
Yeah, and I got a lot of that. I sadly got a lot of that.
Aw.
As soon as the first episode aired on Sci-Fi, the haters were hating. They said it wasn't manly enough sounding and whatnot, but I tried to respond and said, "I'm sorry you don't like it. You have a right to that opinion. That's fine." But I did what I was told because Aniplex America said Kamina needs to sound like a teenager. Don't make him sound like he does in Japanese. Because he sounds like very deep and very bassy and loud, obnoxious. So it said, no, even though the animation is very big and over the top, we're not going to shout all of his lines because that'll just be perceived by a Western audience as obnoxious. We want to get away from that. So...
Because you can't. It lowers your dramatic ability at that point.
I think, and you don't want to make it one note. You don't want everything to be. Bah, 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 bah. It's like, how is the message going to get through if it's all? Bah, 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 bah. You just like put some subtlety in it. You can sell emotion without volume. You can have intensity without volume, and that was a that was a common direction I would get from Tony Oliver on our thing. I would see the animation and Kamina would be moving his flap really big and everything, and I would do the line and then he'd go, "Oh, not shouty, intense but not shouty." And then we'd do it again. I'd pull down the volume and make it more intense. So instead of, "Yours is the drill that will pierce the heavens," and it's like, let's pull back the volume. "Yours is the drill that will pierce the heavens." A little more conversational, a little more intimate, and that could just make it more real in the end.
Well, we got one last question or so on this.
Okay.
I think we'll just throw out the usual ones, like what video games are you playing right now?
All right. I haven't touched games in a long time, but I love first-person shooters. I love Call of Duty, Black Ops, and Halo, Left 4 Dead. I love fighting games. I love Soul Calibur, Street Fighter. I mostly play a lot of games on the iPhone. I do a lot of traveling, so that's a lot of time to kill on a plane. So simple stuff like Bejeweled or Words with Friends or, trying to think. I don't know. I'm intrigued by the 3DS. I may pick one up, but not just yet because Street Fighter 4 is the only game that really,
Not interested in Zelda next 2 weeks?
I don't know. I never really played Zelda before, believe it or not.
Huh.
I'm not a hardcore gamer, more of a casual gamer. I know of Zelda, I know the legacy that it has and everything, but I never really got into it. So I don't know if that would be a must-have title for me personally. Who knows? But I got to go to E3. I didn't get to. The lines were too long.
Oh,
I wanted to try out the Wii U.
Oh, you didn't get to?
Oh. Too long. I tried out Gears 3, though.
Did you try out the Vita?
Nope. Line was too long.
Line too long?
I tried the Kinect Star Wars, though, and I was really disappointed. It was very laggy.
Oh.
And I have a Kinect, and I'm a fan of the Kinect because it's nice not having to hold a controller. I don't think the Kinect will ever overtake an actual controller-based game. I prefer playing with a controller myself, but I appreciate what they're trying to do. It's perfect for a dance game or something if you want to get a little physical with it. It's great for workouts. Yeah. I'll be honest. Dance Central, you get a good workout. Your Fitness, you get a great workout. Star Wars, at this point, I want to throw it out the window. Because it's just, no. You swing your arm like you're holding a lightsaber, and the character on screen a second later swings his arm. It's like,
so
okay,
I don't think that's going to be on the box. I want to throw it out the window.
Yeah, not
Carl
so
Herbert.
much. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Not so much of the prequels, but whatever.
Yeah, we're all both going to still see it in 3D.
Yeah, I'm sheep. I admit it. I'll march right in. I'll check it out because, I also want to go, since I live close to Disneyland, or an hour away, I want to see the retooled Star Tours. Now that there's 50 different variations of that. It's a flight simulator. It's basically watching a movie, but I think it's, it's 3D and randomized, so it's going to all the different worlds and everything. And that would have been cool to be a voice actor on that. I know some people that were. I'm like, oh, sweet. Old Republic looks beautiful, but I'm a console gamer. And I did record voices on a Star Wars game, and at the time they didn't tell me what it was, so I'm hoping this is it.
And you're like, oh, I'm in Star Wars Connect.
Oh. No, I don't think so. I wasn't a playable character, so I'm thinking maybe it's Old Republic.
So you were a killable character?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't have to die. That was nice.
That's always a good thing.
Yes.
Well, we gotta wrap this up. So it's been nice talking to say your name.
Kyle A-Bear.
Kyle A-Bear on Radio DMG. Thank you.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure. Crack open.
Dr. Pepper.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well,